The artist's brain is an independent variable. When brought into the everyday world, their senses find meaning in even the most mundane observations. The reaction must only be told by the artists themselves. I'm Loverboy, and this is an experiment. Today's guest is a singer, songwriter, and artist who originally hails from Georgia and since made her way out to Los Angeles, California, starting her career strong, releasing her first song, hitting her first million, and doing it all with a brand to back it up. She's been teasing her first EP, which will absolutely continue to put her on the road to being one of the biggest pop artists of today. Please welcome the girl who cries at work, Amelia Moore.
Yay! What a great introduction. I love that.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Such a vibe in here.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So today, kind of what this season's about is what it takes and when you were like ready to really jump all in. And I feel like you're the perfect person for that because you just released your first song, and you're getting ready for your first EP.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I actually have my next single coming out on the 21st, which whenever this comes out, it might be out by then, which is really exciting. It's called Vinegar. And 6 weeks after that, I'll have another song coming out. And then 6 weeks after that, and we're all just getting ready to package my EP together. It's called Teaching a Robot to Love. I'm very excited about it. And Pink and I have been in the past couple weeks with some other collaborators just finishing the project up. I'm super excited.
And you don't even have that out, and you already have your first tour.
Already have my first tour. Yeah, that's also super exciting. My A&R, Carter, who I love so much, also signed Fletcher, who's incredible. And I've gotten to hang out with her and had a couple sessions with her. She's amazing. And she just invited me to come along with her, which is such an incredible opportunity. I'm so excited.
What better way to start off your career? You moved to LA, and all this is kind of happening at once. Does it feel like it's a lot, or
it definitely feels? I feel two different ways about it. On one hand, I've literally been dreaming of everything that's happening right now. I'm not even kidding you, since I was like 10 years old. Like, this has been exactly what I've been wanting to do.
Back when you were playing violin?
Back when I was playing violin. Yeah, I played violin for 7 years growing up. And all of this is really coming to fruition for me, which is so exciting. So on one hand, it's like, this is everything I've ever wanted. And on another hand, it's overwhelming sometimes because I feel like sometimes the quicker my career is moving upward, simultaneously my personal life is spiraling the opposite way. So like balancing those two is like difficult sometimes.
Do you find that it's a balancing act for you, in that that's part of the tough part is you have all this amazing success coming so quickly that keeping up with it is not giving you time to kind of groom yourself for also being ready in your personal life?
Well, I feel like, this ties in so perfectly with the next song that I'm putting out, which is another reason why I'm so excited for it. Vinegar is all about like healing and preparing yourself like to take care of your mental health and wellness better and focus on that. And even just writing that song was such a catalyst for me to be like, okay, I really need to start prioritizing myself, because it's very easy for me to go and forget about actually taking care of myself. Yeah. Which is something that I'm working on. But just, I feel like every artist should be like prioritizing therapy, and like working out regularly for me has been a really, really, really big stress reliever. There's not even that much going on that I like need that is like killing me on the inside, but like it's really good as an artist and just as a person in general to putting in the work. Totally. So you're like constantly, preparing yourself for when things are feeling like a roller coaster sometimes.
I feel like when you have something like working out where it's like the self-induced stress.
Yeah.
And you can work yourself so hard there, everything else seems a little bit less intense.
Totally. It's definitely been helping me the past couple weeks.
So let's take it back a little bit. What was the reason for, first of all, moving out to LA and you 100% went all in. You
sent it.
You're all about your branding and your look, and the whole thing it seems very genuine.
Thank you. Well, the year before I moved to LA, I had made my first trip out here. So honestly, around this time 3 years ago was my first time in LA, and I met Pink Slip, and he's my best friend, older brother, main collaborator now, and a couple of other. He's amazing.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
I can't say enough like good things about him. But I met a bunch of other people, and that was my first time in LA. And before that, I just had finished my first year at Belmont, and I was like a fresh green 18 years old, was still like, had no idea branding wise what I wanted to do, music wise, like where I wanted to go, but I just knew that this is exactly what I wanted to do. And coming to LA, even for a week for the first time, was instrumental in the beginning of my growth. Like, I would make weekly trips that were a week at a time throughout the summer, like before I moved here. And I would grow so much more in those 1 week periods of time than I did like a whole semester on campus. And nothing against Belmont, like nothing against the classes that I was taking. But when you're in LA and you're in it and you're around people that are also doing exactly what you want to be doing, dressing in a way that's authentic to them, wearing makeup and going out and hanging out with each other, like it's just so much more inspiring. And I'm such a sponge, so like I would just come here, soak it all up, and go back to Nashville and just feel like not inspired at all. So
totally,
I knew like after my first trip here, I was like, I have to drop out and move.
The way I describe it to people who are thinking about moving out here, it's like if you want to learn a language, you can go on an app.
Right.
Or you can go move to the place and immerse yourself in it.
1,000%.
And when you're in it, you're going to learn it a lot faster because it's a necessity at that point. You need it to survive.
Totally. I 1,000% agree with you.
So what does it feel like sitting here now, being a year and a half in here, and having your first song out, having Drake show up to your first album release party?
Yes,
Thank
my
you,
boy,
Pink.
Aubrey. God, I love him so much.
What
Crazy.
does it feel like? I mean, you're in it. You're in the middle of it.
I know. I forget a lot of the times how far I've actually come because I'm so focused on what I haven't done yet and where I want to go. Even being back in Georgia for Christmas, I had people like come up to me in my like hometown Target and be like, oh my God, I know your music. I've seen you on TikTok. Or like I signed an autograph in my Jimmy John's that I like grew up going to. I know, right? So like that was really cool. And even to talk to catch up with my other friends, and they were like, oh, what are you doing for New Year's? And I was like, I don't know, like my A&R invited me to this party in Malibu, and they were like, oh my God, a New Year's party in Malibu? And I was like, oh yeah, that is really sick. Like this is the life that I live now. And there is a lot of things going on, and I signed to a label, which is like what I've been working to do like the past 3 years. And even when Pink and I first met each other for our first session, we like walked to Jones on 3rd on Ventura, and we like promised each other that we were going to win a Grammy, and we were like, how long do you think it's going to take me to sign to a major label? Like, how long is this process actually going to take? And he was like, honestly, Amelia, probably 3 years. And here we are like 3 years after I met. And my first song is out like on a major label, exactly how I wanted it to go. I love everybody on my entire team. I'm like getting ready to shoot videos and again, go on tour. It's like really, really, really just exciting. And I'm so thankful. And I remember moving here and not being busy at all, and just really, really, really looking forward to working my ass off and being really, really busy.
Yeah.
And so now that I am, it's just like, it's go time.
I remember I've been keeping up. So we met for a quick second on a hike pre-pandemic.
Right.
And I started following you, and I was curious. I wanted to see what it was going to be like for your experience out here. I remember you making, I don't know if it was a post or a TikTok or something, saying, I'm going to have a huge TikTok following, watch.
Yeah.
And then watching you do these runs every day on TikTok and really working your ass off. Like it wasn't, none of this was handed to you. This was really hard work, and it was cool to watch.
Thank you.
What was that? How did you get that mindset? Because I think a big problem for a lot of people is they say, I'm going to move out to LA, and that's their plan. There's no, they don't have the steps put forward that they're going to follow and stick to. And you stuck to it, whether it's with your TikTok or with your music or whatever it is. How did that mindset come to be?
Well, honestly, moving out here, I don't think I had a plan at all. Or if I did have a plan, it was completely swept under my feet whenever COVID happened, you know, just like it was for literally everybody else creatively. But I don't know. I think I'm so grateful for social media, and I feel like a lot of people shit on social media all the time. A lot of artists do, and like complain about the responsibility of posting and marketing themselves, which you can complain about it all day long. But like when it comes down to it, it's like one of the most exciting times to be an artist right now because of the power of social media. Yeah. And I literally was so depressed for honestly the whole first year that I moved here because I like only had music. Pink and I were just like making a bunch of music together all the time. Didn't really have the team figured out. Didn't have any following figured out. Like people had like heard my voice in the industry, whatever, but they were like, oh, let's just wait until she has like the social media thing, right? Which is, I know, the case for so many artists. It is really frustrating. But like at one point, I kind of just had to sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to be one of the biggest stars in the world. And if posting silly little TikToks in my silly little bathroom, so like every single day is going to help me get there, dope. I don't mind doing that at all. And if that's the landscape of the industry right now, I'm going to put the work in and I'm going to keep doing that. Even now, like I struggle with social media a lot because, you know, it gets difficult sometimes because of the algorithm. It's just like so weird and random, but like I really just committed to it. And honestly, things on social media started working for me when I started being authentic and just like posting my original music. Because I was posting for like a year before anything started working for me on the app. But the minute that I just like sat down in my bathroom and just started singing without like trying to perform for the camera was literally my first video that got over 1 million views. And I was like, oh, it literally, like whenever people are telling you to be yourself, they mean it.
And not only do they mean it, but it's necessary.
It's necessary. Like that's how you connect with people now. Like people on TikTok are so smart. Like everybody can sniff out who's being real and who isn't. And even me, like as a user of the app, I know when something's bullshit and when something is dope. So just to like get over myself and get over the fear of failing and only getting 200 views on a video, like all of that sucks. But like you have to fail forward, right? And make mistakes so you can grow towards success, I think.
In all of these different steps, whether it's social media or releasing your music or whatever it is, it's like the same process as moving out to LA. You're going to move out here and you may not know the people you need to know yet, but now you're you know, miles closer than you were.
Right.
So every step is going to take a second. And the fact that it wasn't working for a year and now it is, like that, if you stopped 8 months ago,
I know,
like where would you be now? It really, the consistency and the commitment is everything.
It's everything. And I have so many, like I don't even have the biggest following on TikTok, you know, like I want to quadruple my following this year. But I have so many homies of mine that are like, yo, what's the secret? Like what's the deal? And it's consistency, and you have to be willing to post for a year, to post for 2 years, to post for 6 months every day without anything working. But it'll be like the 6 months and the second day that a video actually works. You know what I'm saying? It's literally all about consistency and authenticity, I think, are the two keys.
I feel like if you're going to jump into this career, we're not trying to be bankers. We're not trying to be, we're trying to do something that literally nobody's done exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
There's no blueprint.
Right.
And my goal with this show is to get as close as possible to a blueprint. Give people the opportunity to at least hear from people like you who can be, it doesn't matter what age you are, first of all, it doesn't matter where you're at in your career.
Totally.
You got to start and you got to fucking go for it and not give up. Like it really is everything. The people who give up are the only ones who don't see any success at all.
Correct. Totally.
I wanted to bring up something that I thought was pretty cool that Kyle told me. He said that when you first moved out here, you wanted to get an orange pair of shoes. So you had all your friends Venmo you $1.
Yeah, and this was, again, like before anything on social media worked. We were in a session with some homies, and I was looking on Grailed. Or no, actually, our friend Dry Kyle, who's an incredible guitar player, just like found these super sick orange Jordans and was like, Amelia, you should totally buy these. They're like $300. I didn't have $300 to spend on sneakers. I was broke out of my ass. You know, had no money to spend on groceries, like much less a $300 pair of sneakers. So he was like, you should just post this on your story and like tell everybody to Venmo you $1. And sure enough, like the homies and some fans like came through, and I still have those shoes. They're like on a shelf hanging in my apartment. I don't wear them, which I think is the funniest thing ever. They're just like there.
It's such a cool concept though, because 3 years ago or 2 years ago, you literally wanted these shoes, and that wasn't getting those. It was like that or your groceries.
Right.
And now you've got your own place in Hollywood.
Hell yeah.
And you can dress how you want, and you can rock the look, and it's all there because you worked your ass off. And I think that's the coolest fucking part of it is first of all, you found a community of people who support you before any of the music was out, before anything. They loved you as a person, and that's a huge part. And
extremely important.
And now you know that when you go buy another pair of those shoes, not only can you afford them because you worked your ass off now, but the first pair was given to you by people who really wanted to see you win.
Yeah, totally. And I owe a lot of all of the, like, I owe a lot of who I know now and just my whole entire friend group to people like Pink Slip and my homies JP and Jacob Krupp. Like, they were the people that invited me out here for the first time to just like, you know, get my feet wet in the industry. So if they're listening right now, I love you guys. Thank you. But it's one of the most important things, I feel like, just having good people around you, especially in LA, because I feel like it's so easy to just get caught up in the wrong crowds and get extremely distracted. But honestly, COVID to a certain degree was a blessing in that way, because I didn't really have the time to get distracted or get mixed up in the wrong crowd. Like, we were literally in quarantine. I was just making music every day with my best friends.
Just working.
Yeah.
And you got a tattoo with your friends.
Got a lot of tattoos with my friends.
In the studio from Kyle.
In the studio from Kyle. I have a couple ones from him, actually. He has a tattoo gun. Probably not the safest thing ever, but
I've been telling him I want one.
You should get one.
I got to come get one from him.
Yeah, whenever COVID is all over, he just needs to have like a tattoo party and give everybody at the crib tattoos.
It's finding people who are willing to bet on you is a really big deal.
And also people that you're willing to bet on too.
Totally.
Yeah.
And yeah, that has to be, there has to be a synergy there. You guys have to really trust each other.
Totally.
And finding people like Kyle and finding this whole group of friends. At the end of the day, before they're collaborators or anything else, they're friends and they're family.
Yeah.
And that is everything. And if I could tell any kid out there who wants to be where you're at right now, from my perspective, don't stop, but find the right people to not stop with.
Totally. I was thinking about this the other day, and I can't remember why. I actually talk about this all the time with Kyle and Inverness and a bunch of other of my friends that I make music with, but whenever things started working on TikTok and like a bunch of A&Rs and labels were hitting me up, like getting me in sessions and everything, super exciting time. Love being in new sessions, love meeting new people and collaborating with different writers and producers. But whenever you think about your favorite song, like that wasn't a random session for those artists. You know what I'm saying? Like they were all in with their friends and in with their family. Like, I think it's so important to have a group of collaborators like that where you can do that with, because you're not going to make the song that breaks you in a random session. Totally. Maybe you will. I feel like the chances for me are very slim for that, because even with this last project, in December we were working for 2 weeks just at a little camp, and I honestly had already had enough songs for my first project, but we were just getting into making more music. Got my heart completely shattered and broken in the middle of this camp, and I remember we had a session scheduled for that next day with a different writer who ended up canceling, which ended up being the greatest blessing in disguise ever, because I showed up to this session bawling my eyes out for 4 hours with my best friends who were like able to be there for me while I was like sobbing on the floor, like uncontrollably. Crying at work, literally. I'm getting like misty thinking about it, just because I'm like so thankful to be creating music that, one, is authentic to the situations that I'm going through right now, but also just with people that I love so much. Because just even if hypothetically speaking that other writer came in, we wouldn't have made the title track of my EP that day.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And it's such a phenomenally written song, and God, I just love it so much. And it took like 4 hours of me crying and them just like holding me on the couch before we could even write anything. And that like wouldn't have happened in any like randomly planned session. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like when you find the right family, the right chosen family in whatever industry or place that you're in your life, then you know that they're the right people when it doesn't matter the circumstance, but they're willing to hold you and make sure that you're okay.
Yeah.
And maybe they're willing to just sit there and be there with you while you fully go through the emotions, because that's a big part of it, and being able to understand where you're at that place in time, so you can write about it, so you can express it the way that you know how to best.
Yeah.
And I really hope anybody listening hears this and understands that if you want this, it's yours, but you have to be able to commit. You have to be willing to change every bit of your life that doesn't coincide with being able to work your ass off and wanting it more than the next person.
Right. I 1000% agree. And I also feel like a really big part of my growth and just focus here, I owe a lot to my friend Gabriella, who I call my song mommy. She's like best friend, mentor, therapist, co-writer, just safe place, mom, like LA mom. I've learned a lot from her. And we also like collaborate together a lot, and she was one of the people in that day that we wrote this like excruciatingly gut-wrenching song the day after my birthday, and she's been a part of like my project for a long time, and I also met her through Kyle too. But yeah, I like to shorten it, I feel like the formula is consistency and hard work, right? Authenticity, be yourself, don't compromise like your values for anything. For a brand deal, for money, for like whatever. Know who you are, know what your pillars are of your brand, and stick to that. Don't let anybody change that. Be authentic. Yes, like surround yourself with the right people. I think that's like also again has been like super beneficial for me. And yeah, like I feel like if you're doing all of those things, it'll be undeniable. For
Give it
people
the time it needs to happen.
Right. But also like you have to be willing to do it for a long time.
Yeah.
To get it. Because even before I moved to LA, like I was writing songs in my bedroom in Georgia, even in Nashville too. And I'm so thankful that I was homeschooled my whole life, even though like, you know, homeschooled to Hollywood, I was like such a loser. Maybe I wasn't a loser, I don't know, because everything has turned out. But I had so much time in the day to like be creative. Yeah. And I thought I was going to be on Broadway at one point, but I like decided, oh, maybe instead of pretending to be somebody else on stage and singing someone else's songs, I can be myself and write my own.
And now you're a pop star.
And now I'm a pop star girl, and I'm going to be one of the biggest pop stars. And I see that for myself, and everybody also on my team like gets that vision. Yeah. So that goes again with surrounding yourself with the right people. But I think that's a pretty good formula to follow.
Well, I'm hoping that I can be sitting in the crowd when you guys walk up there to go get your Grammy. I've been a big fan, and I'm going to continue to be a huge fan.
Thank you, Ro.
Thank you so much for coming out here and
Absolutely.
sharing your experience. And
of course.
To everybody listening.
To everybody listening, I'm Amelia Moore, and this is an experiment.
Thank you, everybody.
The experience is the experiment.